If you are hypermobile and you tend to struggle with ribs that sort of go out or don't stay in the alignment that you would prefer, or you tend to have a lot of upper back, neck, and shoulder tension, keep watching. In this video, I'm going to discuss a little bit about why this happens, as well as what you can do about it. If we've not met yet, my name is Nikki. I am a strength and nutrition coach who also helps hypermobile humans get stronger and hopefully live with less discomfort and pain. So let's talk about why it feels like your ribs don't stay where they should. The long short is, when we're hypermobile, we tend to have joints that move in a larger range of motion that we would like with less control than we would like. So what's tricky about hypermobility is that somehow in one body we have two opposite challenges. We tend to feel extraordinarily stiff and at the same time have a very large range of motion in many joints. What's important to know is that you can have some joints that move too little, that's hypomobility, while also having many joints that move maybe more than would be ideal or too much, which is hypermobility. And hypermobile humans can still have areas of stiffness and very strong tension patterns. So what do we do about this? First, a quick disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not a physical therapist. Not every exercise I teach or everything I say will be relevant to you or necessarily appropriate for your body or whatever you have going on. If you have questions about any of these exercises or what you need to do for yourself, please check with your medical provider or physical therapist. So getting into why we have this discomfort, there's a couple things to keep in mind. The first one is that even though we may have ribs that sort of sublux or go in directions we don't like, we also tend to have a lot of upper body stiffness, which makes it really hard to move the ribs the way that they are meant to. At the same time, we may not have a lot of strength and control in the muscles that help hold our ribs, our neck, and our shoulders where we would like them to be when we do things under load or activities of daily life. So as far as what we can do about it, there's a few different ways that you can look at this. The first one is you actually want to, I know this is a little bit of a plot twist, improve your thoracic or upper back mobility. If we have better movement and control through this area of the upper back and the ribs, we actually may have less discomfort and fewer issues around the ribs, the neck, and the shoulders. The second piece here is going to be, with that control, we tend to need more proprioception or body awareness. And yes, I'm going to show you some exercises that you can do for the upper body with that. The third piece to look at this is stability. How well can you control how your upper body moves both under load and without load? Now, that being said, that takes us into strength. So if you don't have good strength around the muscles to hold them in place, along with the control, aka stability, then stability alone isn't usually going to be enough to help you. So you kind of need both. And in my opinion, stability is just a low level of strength that's done with a little bit more precision sometimes and a little bit less load. So in the video today, what I'm going to show you are some upper body mobility exercises and stability exercises. But what I would say is long term, it would be beneficial to follow a progressive strength training program, because that is really what is going to help make everything better over time. You yourself, while watching this video, may not be ready for that yet. That's totally fine. Sometimes we need physical therapy first, but if you're in a place where you're ready to start looking at strength work, I do have a free week of workouts. It has a ton of options and modifications, including those that may be appropriate for hypermobile humans. You can get that via the link in the description. Moving on though, let's get into some exercises for you to try. All right, the first exercise we're going to do is just a breathing exercise to help you better sense where your ribs are, how you're moving, and how you breathe. Sometimes this gets called a body mapping. Again, it improves body awareness or proprioception. There are a million breathing exercises out there. Please do the ones that resonate for you. I'm just going to show you one today that I happen to like that doesn't take a lot of room. I have an inflatable ball with this. Notice it's pretty squishy. I would do this with a soft object, not a firm one. So what you would do is you can actually just start by sitting and breathing. In and out, noticing how your ribs move. Do you feel stiff more on one side or the other? Do you feel like the air moves easily up the front or in the back? Just notice how you're breathing. And then you can take the ball, kind of place it high up into your armpit, and then you can grab on with the opposite hand, find a place where you're just sitting comfortably, feet flat on the floor, and then breathing in and out. And as I do this, when I inhale, I'm thinking about moving my ribs into the ball. Noticing how this creates space all around the shoulder and movement through the front of the ribs and the back of the ribs. Exhale, letting it go. We'll go one more time. Breath in and breath out. You are obviously welcome to do this for more breaths, but for brevity, I'm just going to do 3 breaths on each side. So again, breathing in. Notice if one side moves a little easier than the other. And out. 2 more. And last one like that. And letting it go. Breathing is also helpful because it calms down or down-regulates the nervous system. So once you've done some sort of breathing exercise, if you have a light stretchy band, we can start to work on mobility with a little bit of feedback. So I'm going to grab my band, and this can be done in a number of positions. I'm just going to do it seated today. And I think I'm going to sit facing sideways so you can see hopefully how my spine is moving. So for this one, I do like the stretchy bands because you can kind of take it along your upper back. And then once you've got it there, you can play with exactly where you want it to be. And I like to choke up so I have a fair bit of feedback to feel how the band and my ribs are moving, but you can obviously slacken it if that feels like a little too much. So I tend to choke up on the band quite a bit. Already, if I breathe in and out, I can feel how my ribs sort of move again now into the back of the band. So here I can press through my feet, inhale, exhale, think about taking one arm forward as the other arm goes back, looking over my shoulder. So now I can feel how my ribs are moving, stacked on top of my pelvis. Inhale and exhale. So I can start to create a little bit of movement with control, feeling, can I keep my rib cage stacked over my pelvis, pushing through my feet, and just starting to notice here, how well do my ribs move? If I have any little sticky spots, I can pause and breathe a little bit more. Also noticing how my shoulder blade is going to move in the same direction as my elbow. So you can do that a few times. Then you can also play with adding a little bit of flexion and extension here. So you can play with exhale, punching the ribs forward. Notice I've spun my palms to face down. And then inhale, bend the elbows, maybe allowing a little bit of lift from the sternum. Notice I'm not lifting so much from the lower back. I'm thinking about lifting up and over the band. And you can add a little bit of flexion extension. You can take these as slow as you like, or if they feel good, you can always go a little quicker. Again, if you're doing it on your own, maybe 5 to 6 reps. I'm just going to stick with 3 today because there's a few different versions of these exercises I'd like to show. And letting that go. So already, I don't know about you, if you've been playing along with me, if I breathe in and out, I notice there's a little bit more ease of movement, and I am actually able to better sense, like, where are my ribs and where are my shoulders sitting on top of my ribs? So from here, we can start to move into a little bit more stability work. So again, there are a lot of different ways to do this. For this, you're going to want a very light mini band. You can also hold on to your stretchy band just with 2 hands, but sometimes I find the really light mini band gives better feedback. So what I'm doing here is I am setting myself up on my bench. You can do this on a table or have your forearms on a roller. And I'm going to find a little bit of flexion or rounding through my upper back. So a little bit of like the round back part of a cat-cow. And then all I'm going to do is just push my hands a little open. Whoo, and I feel the outsides of my shoulders kind of light up like a little Christmas tree. And I'm checking that I'm not doing funky things with my wrist. I can literally look at them. Just spinning from the shoulders. Pressing open. Letting it go. You probably don't need to do a lot of these to feel them. And one more time. And letting it go. So if that all goes well, you can add an isometric hold where you hold that and then a little bit more glide of the shoulder blades. This one is a little bit more advanced, by the way. So for that one, you will come onto your forearms and knees with the band right where it was before. Again, the tendency will be to want to be in kind of an arch back, so I'm going to find a little bit of flexion here. I'm going to press until I feel a little bit of tension in the bands, and actually I want probably about the middle of my forearms on the roller to start. And then I'm just going to press the roller away and pull back towards me. pressing away. Notice I'm not moving through my hips. This is really an upper body isolation. And by about 4 of those, I don't know about you, I feel my shoulder stabilizers a lot. They almost burn. So that is going to be a fancied up version of what I showed you here on the bench. The other one that is sometimes helpful are wall slides. So this can be done with a roller or just at the wall. And likewise, if you want to make this spicier, just put the mini band on your forearms to do the glide. I think it's spicy enough, having just done all that without the mini band, but know that that option exists. So first base option here is come to the wall. Again, if you have no foam roller, you can just do this at the wall with your fingertips on the wall. Sense where your ribs are, the tendency might be to want to arch through the back. So again, feel your bra line almost draw to the back side of the room a little bit, lengthening through the spine, and then you're just going to slide up the wall, and then think about pulling your shoulder blades down your back as you slide the roller down the wall. Sliding up the wall, and sliding down the wall. If that one starts to feel pretty easy and you want to throw in some thoracic mobility to go with it, here would be a more advanced version. So you can come into a half kneeling position. And what I would advise doing is putting a block between your thigh and the wall. Then from here, you can turn and put the roller on the wall, fingertips on. You're going to hold your thoracic twist, and then, you can do this with rotation. Like I said, this is more advanced. This is not where I would start. I don't have so many issues with rib stuff these days, so this doesn't bother me. So again, if you're strong and you're just looking for more thoracic mobility these days, that might be a good option. If you're not so sure, definitely start with some of the other exercises that I showed you. So those are some different ways to address stability and mobility of the upper back. I really hope that helped, and thank you so much for watching.